Hi, everyone. Looks like it's 12 o'clock, and I really don't want to waste anybody's time, so I think we should just get started. And we are recording this, so if for some reason you need to leave or one of your partners is not on yet, or you need to come back later to it, it will be on our YouTube channel, and I will be sending out a link to that after. So I just wanted to welcome everyone to our monthly webinar where we will be chit-chatting with Talkdesk as they describe their methodology and strategy in design, deliver, and support. Talkdesk partners with some of the biggest and best names in customer experience solutions like Salesforce, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, and Zoom. We recently brought them on as a partner to help our partners and their customers deliver the best contact center services out there. So to get started, I'd like to show you a brief video on Talkdesk's history and what they do.
When someone calls Talkdesk, we provide all the information about the caller in real time. And that's where it started. And then we realized that the call center business is huge and it's old, so we want to disrupt it, basically.
We will change the customer service market in 2020, period.
I'd like to introduce, well, obviously most of you know Garrett, that familiar face. He's our Director of Product for TO and West Telecom. And we would like to introduce you to Joe Holleran. He is from Talkdesk, and he has almost 30 years in the call center industry. The last 20 years, he has spent working for enterprise call center software companies such as Varian and NICE. Today, he is the Director of Strategic Partnerships at Talkdesk. So also, I'd like for you guys to stick around because at the end of the webinar, we're going to be choosing a partner winner who's going to win a HomePod. And I think there's a few partners on, so stick around. And just some of the marketing housekeeping items I'd like everybody to know. We will be having our next and last webinar. We're going to take the summer off. So May 20th at 9 o'clock Pacific time, 12 o'clock Eastern time, we'll be talking about Microsoft Teams and our new exciting kind of launch with Microsoft Teams Voice and our integration with them. Obviously, our weekly partner dose, that goes out every Thursday. If you are not receiving that and you'd like to, please send me a chat message with your email on it and I'll sign you up. And if you've got news or a story to share, send it to us so we can highlight you and share all of the information with our partners on what you're doing. Like I said, we send out things on Thursdays, and I'd love to kind of highlight partners and let everybody kind of know what they're up to and what they're doing.
Thanks, Dee. And hi, everyone. Glad to be back here with you. So we want to cover a few things today. We want to start with, why are we looking at contact as a service? So both, why generally is this something that West Telecom is interested in? And also, why is this something that you should be bringing out to your customers, your clients? From there, we're going to turn it over to Joe. He's going to talk about, or why Talkdesk specifically is such a great fit in the contact center as a service market, what they can do, what they bring in differently, and then how that works into our design, deliver, and support phases that we try and do everything with. And of course, as always, we're going to end this up with some Q&A. So as you're going through, if you've got questions, make sure you use that question box. We're happy to have you come in and really ask those questions. Obviously, there's too many people on here for us all to open up the mics and talk, but use that. We'll make sure you get answers on there. All right, let's go ahead and go on to the next slide. So I don't want to steal too much of Joe's thunder, so we're going to be kind of brief on here, but I do want to talk about why at West Telecom we're looking at contact center as a service and why we should be looking at that for our customers and our partners too. The first is it gives us more ownership and lets our partners have more ownership of their clients' communication needs. What do I mean by that? Really, one of the things that comes into play when you're taking a look at the need to go up to a full-fledged contact center is you're looking at volume, you're looking at because of sophisticated workflows, you're looking at a few other elements on here that can really make a difference in a company's business. We want to make sure we can provide that as well as all the other voice services we're already providing. That way we can continue to be the one-stop shop for voice and all those services that our customers are coming to us for. We don't want to have the case where we have someone who already has a hosted PBX or UC with us or already has SIP trunking with us but has to go somewhere else for those contact center needs, because that's going to make it harder on the customer, and it's not going to let us benefit them to the full extent that we know we can. But the other thing that comes into play is it lets us start talking about more lines of communication than just voice, because with contact center as a service, you're really talking omni-channel. So that means we bring in SMS into the conversation, web chat, email, however your clients are getting requests from their customers, all come into our conversation. That lets us really turn our expertise and our capabilities into being the go-to for your clients, your customers' communications, regardless of what they're doing with it or how they're running with it. Lets us own more, lets us do more, and lets us support our customers better. And that comes into building deeper relationships. If we can do more for our customers, if we can use more of our expertise and more of our knowledge and more of our solutions to deliver for them, we can do better by them too, and we can really deepen those relationships. West Telecom is a very relationship-focused organization. We care about those relationships. We want to nurture and grow them, and this is another way to do so. A couple of ways we also can do that is, we have integration capabilities that come in with a contact center as a service. So we can actually start to do integrations in with the rest of the customer's infrastructure, systems, CRM, other sources of data, whatever that might be. And we can take our knowledge of their systems to, again, bring our expertise, bring our capabilities to bear in a way that deepens what we do with our clients and customers. It also lets us reach out to new opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities out there where, they might be working with a voice provider that cannot bring in contact center services. So it gives us the opportunity to come in and talk to people who previously said, I'm happy enough with my phones. And that we can look for other options. It opens more doors, gives us a chance to talk to people who said, no, I'm not interested right now, because we can go back for more services and more ways we can help them. And then finally, and the key that this does across the board more than anything else is it helps your customers do more. So that means that with a proper contact center as a service solution, we are letting our customers provide a superior client experience for their customers. That means that they're going to be more efficient, that they're going to be able to make do with more or with less with their existing staff and resources. That means that we can bring in automations, and it ties back into that deeper relationship and bringing in expertise to help us eliminate a lot of the time-consuming swivel chair work that often comes with processing a call if a system can do that all from the ground up. So we see a lot of opportunities and a lot of places where it makes sense to take the expertise and relationships we have and bring in contact center as a service in on top of what we're doing today. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn that on over to Joe, and he's going to talk more about why not just do we want contact center as a service, but where Talkdesk specifically comes in and how they fulfill that.
Thanks, Garrett. This is Joe Halloran with Talkdesk, and I'll kind of go through some of the the benefits of Talkdesk and why you would want to work or partner with us, and why West Telecom is looking to us as their CCaaS vendor here. So it's not on the slide, but I figured one of the places to start is, what is Talkdesk? What do we do? So if you're familiar with the call center world, as Deirdre mentioned, I've been in this world for almost 30 years. And just as a side note, wasn't something I intended to get into, but maybe like other people, you get into it and you just keep following along in the different tracks that you go with. And not something you grow up thinking about, but something that, ends up being a good career and something you become a little bit passionate about. So where does Talkdesk fit in? When I started out in my career, you had a lot of different vendors out there. You had the PBX, you had the ACD, the IVR, all these different features, and you had these different segments along the way to take care of the call center, all the way down to scheduling and quality monitoring, on down through surveys to the end users. So the way I kind of describe Talkdesk is we're a call center in a box. So we can provide all those different features that early on in my career, we had to go to different vendors to get. So if you go to us, we can provide that. Now, one of the things that's really cool with Talkdesk is we were born in the cloud. We didn't start as an on-prem software. And then as the market changed and moved to the cloud, we started there. So everything we do is directed by that motion. I worked for a customer or companies before where we were an on-prem solution. And as that market evolved, we had to move our solutions to the cloud. And it was very painful because some of the pieces just did not move nicely to the cloud. They still required some on-prem components, maybe some pieces where it would trigger screen recording for an agent, for example. But it was very cumbersome. The way the software was laid out did not do well with multi-tenancy, for example. It had to kind of be backwards engineered to do that. But that's why Talkdesk is nice and clean, because we started in that motion with being in the cloud. One of the things that's really cool, I think, with Talkdesk is on that first piece there, the App Connect ecosystem. What that's talking about is we have a lot of products at Talkdesk that we've created, and they're continually evolving. You can see 200 patents in 100 days. We're churning out stuff at a ridiculous rate. But we also recognize we're maybe not great at certain aspects of solutions. So we've partnered with a lot of third parties out there, and we put them into an App Connect marketplace on our website. So we, for example, have created recently a WFM, a workforce management offering. It's pretty good, but it's more entry level, I'd say, at this point. If you need something more robust, we offer Verint Monet, for example, or Calabrio. They are our partners out there. So if you're used to using them already or have a business case where you need something a little more advanced, they're available. So we have a whole bunch of different partners that we have easy integrations or already built integrations with, that you can go out and just go to our website and take a look. They have videos, they have pricing, they have all types of things, and see if it fits your need. And then you'd go back through West Telecom and then ask that you add that to your solutions. So that's a nice piece of, it gives us a lot of flexibility. So you're not limited to what we offer. We also offer a lot of other pieces out there too. And lately, we've been really talking at Talkdesk about that AI-infused piece. Our goal is to automate a lot of the functionality in the call center, so we don't need agents to do it. And we'll look at that down the road, but that's a big push of our business right now, is using artificial intelligence to supplement a lot of easy tasks that go on and to make the contacts easier and one-call resolutions and things like that. But that's a big push right now at Talkdesk. The market leader, the one thing I like to point out there is it came to my attention recently with some other sales opportunities that some companies are only entertaining offers from companies that are in Gartner's Magic Quadrant in the top right. And right now, there's only 3 out there in their top right, and that would be Nice and Contact, Genesis, and us. So it became a nice selling point that we reside in that upper right quadrant of Gartner. So when you're looking for a solution, you can rest assured that we're in that space along with the big players. And when you look at them, they have a deep history of providing this solution where we're 10 years old and we've already made it to that spot. So we are moving forward very quickly. And we have been hiring constantly. We're putting a lot of focus in our engineering and research and development. So we're churning out products at a record pace. And then the last one there I like to point out is with customer obsessed. It's a big part of our business. We want customers to be delighted. We want them to have a great experience. We want to end, one of our mottos at Talkdesk is end bad customer experience. So we want to do everything we can to make sure that the customers are taken care of. We do offer a 100% uptime SLA for those that need it, so you never have to worry about being down. We do offer a lot of white glove services, and we do have some really great scores we get back from our customers as far as their satisfaction and our retention. So we're putting a lot of effort into making sure our customers are happy and that they stay with us, which you'll see here in a little bit. Next slide, please. So some of the products that we offer, I kind of look at from left to right here. The left side is the basics, and then as you get to the right, it's a little more advanced. But when I talk about call center in a box, on the left-hand side, we can offer the ACD capabilities. That would be the old Cisco's and Avayas that you see out there. So we can offer that routing. We can offer the IVR, the outbound dialing, self-service. These are all pieces early in my career you had to go to multiple vendors for if they did exist at the time. But now we offer all of these as one-stop shop. That omni-channel is a big one that a lot of people ask me, what does that mean? So in the customer service world, you have multiple ways of getting in touch with your with the vendor, and that would be you could call them, email, chat, text, social media, all types of different ways, and we can handle that. And then what's really cool about our solution is then we take all those interactions and we can load them into one case. So if a customer called us on one day and then responded with an email the next, they all show up in the same case so that the customer service rep wouldn't have to look in multiple places. They could see the different contacts that have come in and put them all together to make a one seamless experience. So that's where omni-channel comes in, so that we can consolidate all those different pathways into the company. Workforce engagement, as Deirdre mentioned earlier, I had spent time at both NICE and Verint. That's where those guys played. They were big players in this space. We're offering that now today too. Workforce management, quality management, where you record the phone calls and then you can score them and then provide feedback to the agent. And then some other pieces there, QM Assist, gives some other components where we can score easy parts of a conversation that you don't need to have listened to. So if they did their greeting appropriately or their their verification of data, we can have that done by automated systems so that we don't have to waste the surveyor's time on those. Kind of moving over to the right, some of our more advanced functions that we get into that we're hearing a lot of interest in: Agent Assist and Virtual Assist. Those are when the agent's on the phone and they get a question. It will pre-populate. The system can pick up on that recording and provide them that information without them even having to type it in. So if somebody asked about plans on their cell phone, the agent would get a screen pop showing what plans are available. And the idea is to save them time and to give them the accurate information. Virtual agent, most of the time when you're doing a chat, for example, you call out to a company's customer service and you're asking questions, you're probably getting an automated system responding to you, at least initially. And then if it gets a little too complex or you want to speak to an agent, it will transfer you over to a live agent. But virtual agent is where you're speaking to a computer, essentially answering your questions. And then knowledge base. So we're trying to give a good amount of information to the agent so that they don't have to look in multiple places for answers to questions. So those are some of the big things that we're getting a lot of interest in on that AI and knowledge section. And then lastly, we have our speech analytics and surveys. Speech analytics has come a long way, so we can, after we take a call recording or even during a live conversation, we can pick up on emotion. We can pick up on certain questions that might need a supervisor to get involved in, and then you could ring the system will ring the supervisor and say, hey, you might want to listen in on this phone call. Or if you're just an analyst on the back end and you're trying to figure out, why are most people calling us? What was the big driver last month? Speech analytics can give you dashboards that say, most people were calling in about their plan, or most people were calling in about a battery on their cell phone having problems. I've seen that before, where a cell phone company used speech analytics to early on detect a problem with all the cell phone batteries, and they were able to get ahead of it before it became a bigger problem. So these are a lot of the different components that we offer, all the way from the routing and the IVR, the self-service pieces, on into surveys where after the contact is complete, we can send out a message, text or email to the customer and ask them how their experience was, and tie it all back together to make sure that we're offering a good customer experience to those callers. Next. One thing we're going to talk about is kind of how do we deliver this? In the West Telecom world, the design delivery support piece is a big part of the offering. So we're going to show you a little bit where Talkdesk fits in here. So if you want to jump ahead a little bit, Deirdre, to the design slide. There we go. One of the things that we like to do is we spend a lot of time on our design piece and making sure we get it right. I always liken it to, if you play golf, that you want that tee shot to be good, because if you go off left or right into the weeds, it's going to take a long time to recover and get back on track. So we spend a lot of time on our design trying to make sure that we get it right the first time, so that everything we do after that doesn't have to be reworked or turn out in the end to be incorrect. So you'll see here in a little bit, kind of the detail we go into there, but that's where, a big part of our strategy starts off with, is making sure we do it correctly the first time. Let's go on to delivery, if you don't mind. This is where the heavy lifting takes place. So in the kickoff part, and I'm just going to go through these briefly, but just to help you understand how our methodology works on the delivery phase. We assemble a project team on our end. We have an internal kickoff with the sales team, so that would be whoever at West Telecom or the partner, to make sure we're all aligned with what the customer purchased. And then from there, we'll start setting up meetings and discovery with that customer. That's where we look at the requirements, understanding what the rules are, understanding what they're looking for. Make sure we're all on the same page. Make sure they understand what they bought. Sometimes we get to this point and the customer thinks they got one thing and we delivered something else. So we want to make sure we're all on the same page to start with here, between that kickoff and discovery session, and identify all the players, identify the cadence, how often do we meet, what are the timelines, all those pieces. From there, we get into the configuration. We do that with the customer. So we have experts on the different components that I showed you earlier that will jump in and help design those out and then put them into place. So any of the routing, porting prep, so if there's phone numbers involved, we want to make sure that we get in touch with the right people to get those numbers ported over. The greetings, all of that information is done in the configuration step, and then we get into some more advanced configurations as needed when it comes to networking and other integrations such as Salesforce or Zendesk or something like that. So as we keep moving through these, we go on to the typical testing, make sure the user accepts the testing, make sure they're good with everything there, do any fine tuning as needed. Network testing, because once we open the floodgates, we want to make sure that the network can handle the amount of traffic that's going to come through. So we do a lot of, we have, what's it there, the networktest.talkdesk.com. That's actually something you could go on to today. It's public. And you could just test and see how your connection is with Talkdesk. And it will give you back a report that tells you areas that might need to be improved and areas that pass. So we try to have customers do that ahead of time. And then once all these pieces are in place, we get into our training components, where we have a few things out there, and I'll show you them in a moment, but we have Talkdesk Academy, where there's a lot of self-paced training that we want the users to do at their own leisure. So it's prerequisites before we start doing live training, but we have a number of videos out there that they go through and do a little quiz at the end, make sure they get it. And then that's on into the classroom training and then user acceptance on that. Deployment, that's another part where we're going to help you prepare to go live. So once you're ready, we want to be there hand in hand with you as we turn up the system. Talkdesk, it's an instance in the cloud, like I mentioned earlier. It's ready to go. We just provisioned different instances within it for each customer. And then from there, when the time comes to do a cutover from probably your existing system to ours, we'll just flip the switch or do it in a gradual fashion. A lot of customers choose to move different groups at different times so that they feel confident it's going to work. And then we're there to hold your hand during that time and make sure everything's going smoothly and do any tweaks as necessary. And then on the back end, after we're done with all the deployment, we get into our, what we like to call our client excellence. Make sure you have plenty of support. Make sure you understand how to open tickets, how to get any help you need, how to fine tune the system, all of that. And we also like to reach out to customers, or in this case, it'd be West Telecom, make sure everybody's doing, getting the support they need. We don't want to wait until we get a ticket back in saying, hey, we've been down for a couple of days, or we're really struggling to use the system. We like to be proactive and reach out to our customer. Again, in this case, it's West Telecom, to make sure everything's running smoothly. If you want to move to the support piece. Here, this is a typical support team that we would use. Our network engineers or solution consultants are the ones that do a lot of the heavy lifting. That term we use for a broad range of different functions, trainers, specialists, or SMEs. These are the people that work with the customer to make sure all that stuff's developed, make sure the routing is correct, make sure we understand how they want the calls to flow, greetings, hours of operation. They're the ones that do all that work, and we bring in different types of consultants as the product needs. So if you have workforce management, if you have IVR, if you have omnichannel, different people with different functions here. So that's the folks that do a lot of the work. On the back end, on that lower line, we have technical account managers. They're the ones that if you're having issues, that they work with you after you've deployed the system. They help to engage the support desk as needed, or engineering teams. So they're there to hold hands. The strategic success managers, depending on the what's purchased, we could have them deployed, where they're helping to look at quarterly business reviews and make sure the system is doing what it wants. The idea with a lot of these functions, we want to create a stickiness. We want to make sure that you're happy with the product, that you're not going to throw it out the window, that you're using it effectively, so that you continue to be our partner for years to come. And in a perfect world, we'd keep providing more solutions, and we would be the go-to vendor for that, and help just create a good customer experience. We don't want to find out later that they haven't used it for a month and that they're just frustrated and they're starting to look for somebody else. So we try to provide plenty of support on the back end after the deployment to make sure we achieve all of that. The next one there, mentioned earlier, we had Talkdesk Academy. So you can actually go on that today if you want to and take a look. It's free. I believe you have to register and you'll get a login and password back. But there's all types of training out there. There's tutorials, certifications that's, as needed, or if you want to do that, there's little tests or quizzes that you could take too. But Talkdesk Academy is what we use even internally for new hires. This is where you get a good overview of the company, get a good overview of the products, and get some real good detail on how they're configured. So it's nice to have too, because as a company hires new people and they maybe don't want to have to pay for retraining, we could just have them go there and learn from these different clips and different sets of guidelines that can help them. Tailored training, that comes into the mix too. We will build that out during the sales process to understand what's going to be needed to make this work. And this is really live training that we would deliver to the customer. So it's specific. One of the things I'll point out, specific to regional, we're global. So, if you need a certain language, we can provide that. But we try to train on the different levels here, the administrator, supervisor, agent, all the people that need to touch it. So we will customize that training to make sure that everybody is enabled to use the product. And as it says there, leave no agent behind. So we want to provide all that support to make sure that we take care of you after the deployment. So that was probably a lot of information in a short amount of time, but I wanted to give you a good flavor for what Talkdesk does and how we deploy it out there. So Deirdre or Garrett, if you want to, address this one.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, Joe. Especially since we're recording this, the detail certainly helps. So we talked about at the beginning before Joe gave us so much great information about Talkdesk themselves. We talked about why we are looking at a contact center, what brings that in there, and the other part of that though is why would one of our customers, why would one of our clients come to us and say, why should I get Talkdesk through West Telecom? We talked about why it helps us, but let's talk about how it helps the customer. The first and foremost is simple IT. It's that the old adage of one throat to choke. Keeping everything through us, if we're already providing the voice services, if we're already providing network services, it simplifies everything the customer's doing. They have a fewer group of people to work with and less likely to get into the cases where you've got people saying, no, it's their fault or their fault. Keep it simple. We keep it straightforward. And that really ties into the IT support. And it also lets us present a total solution. So now as we go out to our customers, we can be taking a look, and Talkdesk scales really well. You can talk about hundreds or thousands of agents and building it out there and doing all of that too. But it also means we can go down low to a smaller group. So we're talking to some of our local clients, and maybe they have a group of 5 or 10 agents to start with, and right now they're looking for some more capabilities. We can now bring that in as a total solution, help them do more, help them grow that out, and do it in a way that's not going to be too overwhelming or too disruptive to the rest of what they build out. We also, with our network and our capabilities, we can make sure that they're redundant. Contact Center as a Service is phenomenal. Talkdesk has done a lot of work to make sure that they keep themselves up. But if a customer can't get to Talkdesk, they're still going to have a gap there. And that's where our networking services can really come into play. So we can make sure with the SD-WAN solutions, with redundant services, redundant routes, we can make sure that the customer always has a high quality connection for their agents into the Talkdesk cloud so they can continue to work, continue to take advantage of this. And of course, just keeping up with the simplified IT concept, we're also bringing this down. This can be on a single bill as opposed to having to manage multiple bills, multiple billing cycles, and a single front line of support. Again, same group of people to ask and same communication channels. Less to learn, less to think of how to approach things, so we can deliver and continue to deliver a superior solution for our customers. All right, and then with that, I think we're on to Q&A.
Thank you both so much for showing up, first of all, and speaking on these concepts. And at the end of the day, it's really interesting to see how so many of our values and morals are so kind of in line with each other, each brand, and how we really, really want to focus on support and the customer experience at the end of the day. So with that, if there's any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we will answer them as quickly as possible. We do have Taylor, who is from Talkdesk, on the line as well. And Taylor he's got a lot of great answers as well. If anybody does have questions, he will be helpful in answering anything on that end. I actually do have one. So what's the process for registering an opportunity?
So what we typically would do there is, and I put my camera on, by the way, so you could see my nice purple shirt. We went through a rebranding on Tuesday, and if you've ever done a rebranding, it's a big endeavor because everything from our website to every document that we've ever produced typically has to be redone, and we changed our colors. So we're now purple, which is a really cool color, but a lot of dots. So when it comes to registering a deal, the way we work with West Telecom is the sales arm of this. We sit behind the scenes and support you. And when a deal comes in from whether a direct customer or a partner, West Telecom will go and register it on our partner portal. They'll put in some basic information, especially around the headquarters of that deal. And then we will have somebody assign that deal to one of our salespeople. So if, let's say, it comes in and the customer, the end user's in Boston, we'll find the salesperson that takes care of that territory and then align our salesperson with the West Telecom salesperson, who possibly then could be aligning with a partner salesperson to support the deal. And then from there, West Telecom will handle all of the sales activities. We are there on the back end to support with demos, meetings, what's the right solution for the situation. So that's where we come in.
Okay. So basically, another reason to use West Telecom would be that if you were a partner, you would have to kind of go in and do all those things on your own.
Right. Yeah. So that way we consolidate everything through you guys. And that's where, the question comes up too around, let's say, support. If ticket needs to be open, it's going to be open with West Telecom, who then works with Talkdesk. So we're trying to create that motion of one throat to choke and keep everything going through you, since in our eyes, these are all your customers, and we want to be there to support you and make sure you're aware of anything going on. So on the support motion, it would be any tickets would be opened with you, and then you'd open them with us, for example.
Great. And if you're a partner, you're obviously familiar with our mission critical app. So you have that ability through your phone and through, whatever device you're using to put in that ticket, and you can track it as well at that point. What about billing? So if I were a partner, would I be billed by Talkdesk or would I be billed by West Telecom?
So you would be billed, if you're a partner of yours or a customer, you'd be billed by West Telecom. So you won't get anything from Talkdesk. So the way I look at it, Talkdesk works to West Telecom, and then you guys do a 180 and turn around, and then you're the face to your end users from there. So anything license-wise, we would be billing you guys, then you put it on your own paper, turn it around, and give it to your customers.
Perfect. We got another question. So how does Talkdesk differ from Five9 and InContact, which I know Five9 is kind of a larger provider as well of this. So kind of why would I pick Talkdesk over Five9?
So what we've found with Five9, they're a good product. I've worked with them before. Some of the things I've heard from the field is around their administration is a lot more challenging than Talkdesk. Talkdesk apparently is very easy to use and have limited administration functions, where those I've been told are a little harder to use. We've had good success with our uptime. Talkdesk or Five9 had an issue, I know, last year with some of their upgrades that customers were really getting upset about because they didn't go through too well. So that's where we see our strength. Our product also is built on the microservices. So if something goes down, it doesn't take down the whole system. So it's, Five9, unfortunately, if one piece goes down, it could take down the rest of it in a domino fashion. So one thing we've really built ourselves on is keeping that redundancy and making sure one piece won't affect the rest. So that's where one of our strengths is there. Nice InContact it's another strong system. There's no doubt about that. One thing I get from my resellers in particular is they seem to be heavier on direct sales, and resellers are not as cherished as they want to be sometimes. So that's where Talkdesk is a little bit different. We're really putting a focus on our resellers to make it the easy button to show them the love that we appreciate them and not try to take deals away from them. So that's one of our strengths when it comes to them.
Perfect. Another question, what are some characteristics of ideal opportunities?
So some of the ones that we see, and you hit on this earlier, you may have a small contact center to start with, but as it grows, it's going to get more complex. Maybe you can easily manage 5, 10, 15 agents. No big deal. You could do stuff on an Excel spreadsheet. But now you get into 25, 30, 40 agents, and you're probably going to have longer hours of operation. You're probably going to have maybe some other pieces of that contact you need to address, maybe a Spanish-speaking line or a premier service or things like that. That's where it gets more complicated to use spreadsheets and basic technology. And where Talkdesk usually fits in is as the complexity grows. So, growth, another thing that comes along with that is maybe we want to do email, maybe we want to do outbound, social media parts of it, text messaging. So, that's another driver towards Talkdesk is what they're using now just isn't cutting it for their growth and complexity. Another area to keep an eye on for ideal customers is they may be coming up against their maintenance window. And they're they're trying to decide, do I pay my next annual maintenance or am I looking for a new solution? That's usually a good candidate to start having that conversation of, is it time to move? Or is their hardware or their solution 10 years old? There's a point where a lot of these companies, and I've worked for them, for Verint and NICE, they end of life it. And that's where you're at a crossroads. Do you move to their next version or is it time to buy a new one? And something maybe that's more suitable for what we want to do. I hate to say it, but COVID's been really good for Talkdesk because everybody went to their home office. We deployed those solutions very, very quickly because everything we do is cloud-based. We didn't have to touch anything on site. So we had some customers up and running in a matter of days, a couple days. They called and said, we're in serious trouble here. We need to get something up and running. And we bent over backwards and made it work. 48, 72 hours later, they had a working system. So we can do things very quickly as needed. Another thing that comes into when it comes to why Talkdesk, you might come across some regulations. So if you have to record every phone call, if you have to have PCI compliance, those are other drivers I see out there that drive people to a solution like ours where we can meet those needs. So, just as your customers evolve, just keep an eye on them. See if they're growing, see if the situation is changing where they need some more of these features that they don't have available today. Just that's usually going to be the ideal fit for us.
Great. Okay. Well, again, I wanted to thank you for showing up and coming onto this webinar. Garrett, thank you as well. Taylor, thank you. And if there's no other questions, then hope you guys all have a really good day.